And I think real estate is like a bluffing game too. Whoever has the better poker face wins. But at the same time, you got to take the risk of, starting over and making sure your clients' needs are met. Um, and of course, it doesn't matter what they prefer. So I wanted to kind of talk over what we have done so far. If you're interested in, I'm happy to send the first three mentorship sessions. The first one was about talking about the general game, what real estate is, how it is different. Working on a commission is a life-changing game for many of us. So we just talked about what are the differences. The second and third sessions, we talked about kind of nuts and bolts of real estate, the document side, sales, some lead generation, RSA system, how we make a deal happen. Now I would like to talk to you about how we can stay in touch. If you have any preferred method, because how you want to continue being accountable is up to you. Like if you would like to partner up with a different agent or with me, if you want me to call you or text you weekly, if you want to have office meetings, trainings, or which subjects you think you need more training, just let me know. I'm always available. I'll try my best. Any feedback so far? Like, would you want to meet at the office or like weekly meetings or any other subjects that you want me to cover?
I personally prefer to meet at the office, like physically in person.
Yeah. So
Okay. Me too. Honestly, I don't like Zoom. This is just too technical. But when you're talking, there is a lot of details we can go through and make it easier. But in today's world, time is money, and I don't want you to drive to the office unless you really have to. So whichever is more convenient for you. Any other topics you think that we didn't cover so far?
I think you did a pretty good job. It was pretty thorough.
Did you have any chance to watch the other videos or the links? I know, I'm sorry, I sent so many.
I've watched some of them.
Really? Awesome. Because each session was around like 1 hour, but I think with the links included, it's minimum like 10 hours or more
Yep.
for each week. So that was a lot of stuff.
I didn't get through all of it.
They are in the link, the PDF files. When you let's say about last week, there are 5 days for the boot camp. So each slide had one link in it. So 1 hour session for each of them. Okay, I will send maybe a different slide, a different document just with the slides in it, because it's easy to miss with the PDF file. Okay, I'll take a note for that. Any other topics that you want to cover for the next weeks? Like purchase and sales contract, or I don't know, like sales, lead generation, KV core, seller representation.
I would say either more with like lead generation or like marketing the houses or something like that.
You mean to market your listings or marketing in general?
No, well, marketing like listings and like getting it out there and stuff like that, so you can get like the most potential buyers possible.
Sure. We can go over that. I will put that into the calendar. So I wanted to talk to you about, what are the dangers to be in real estate? Yeah, we are talking about very, large numbers, and not everything is peachy. We do have challenges during the system and during the process. It takes like 45 to 60 days for a regular closing with the financing. But how do we cover ourselves, right? There are a lot of things to know about. And if somebody sues you, what do you do? Which can happen. Or when you can't come to an agreement, somebody has to give in, or you got to make a decision. So just to be safe, what are the best practices? So let's talk about your nightmare experiences. Did you have anything like really challenging? That
Oh, are you asking us or?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So okay, do you want me to share?
that would be awesome. I want to see your faces in the meantime, so I'm not sure how I can
You
make that
can't
happen.
see my face?
No, I can't.
Oh, how come?
Do you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay.
No, I mean, I see that Sayers nightmares that,
Yes.
yeah.
You see the screen, but do you see my face?
No, of
No.
course not. When that is on, we don't see your face. That's
Yeah.
normal. Yeah,
I wish
that's
that was
right. Yeah.
okay.
So anyway, so here I had listed a house. The minute I walked into the house, you could smell that dog urine smells. It was so strong. It
Mhm.
was just unbearable. So I had to hold the seller's hand and had her hire the company to take out this. It costed about a couple $1,000 to have the company come in and just, from the basement. I mean, they were literally letting the dog go in their basement. So that had to be taken care of. So that was one of the nightmares, but the seller was very, cooperating, but that had to be taken care of. Otherwise you cannot show the homes. The minute you walk in, it was just unbearable smell. So that was one of them. And Janos, do you have anything you want to share? You might.
I don't know. I mean, knock on wood, I could probably count on one hand the not so desirable sellers or transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we are fortunate in this business because you don't have to serve everybody you come across. So
Well,
just somebody, calls you, wants a CMA or whatever, you go there and just don't have good vibes. Well, you don't have to become their agent. Likewise with buyers. So I try to, because there is also an opportunity cost. So while you're struggling with some nightmare scenario, you could be having 2 fun transactions that actually close. So I guess I learned that very early on because my very, very first transaction closing was like a total nightmare. The sellers and buyers have hated each other so much that I had to put them in different conference rooms.
Oh, that
So
happened.
one of them was a back-to-back transaction. So that closing took up 3 conference rooms because they were ready to kill each other. And I guess that taught me a lesson that this is not the right way. Just forget these people. Don't deal with them. You don't have to.
You're right. There is so much aggravation, and not everybody is selling a house because they want to upsize to a better property. It might be a divorce case, and it may not be pleasant. Um, and whenever you have a dilemma like that, make sure you be nice. It's not your problem, and there are unhappy people in this life. No matter what happens to them, they are just not happy. As long as you cover yourself, make sure your dates are on. Like, please make sure your dates are your priority, so you're not missing out on. Let's say you have 10 days for a home inspection. Don't wait until the 11th day, Because if you do, then the listing agent, you know, they can go back on the market, they can try to keep your deposit. And in this market, if there is a disagreement between the buyer and the seller, for the seller or the buyer to keep the deposit, they still need to spend so much money for the attorneys. It really doesn't make too much sense unless it's like more than, I don't know, like $15,000 or so. More of that money is going to go towards the attorney. So it really doesn't make sense. Try to come to an agreement. I always choose to be nice. There are nasty people out there. Believe me, there are. And sometimes you're in a transaction and they try to be aggressive and they are trying to fight with you. You know, they are trying to protect their client's interest. But at the same time, if I am not present, there is no closing. So it has to be a mutual agreement, and the buyer and the seller agents, we have to work together. So just make sure your contract is accurate and everything is protected. Everybody's on time. And if we have any question marks, you're welcome to call me anytime. If we can't handle it, we can easily get an attorney on board and make sure that we are protected.
I think there are in a lot of cases, it's agents, you know, not being aware of what's in the contract. I would always emphasize, read the contract, know your contract from number 1 to number 16, purchase and sales agreement. I've come across some of the, even the experienced agents making mistakes, and they didn't seem to understand the contract entirely. So, you know, for a new agent, even myself, I read the contract over and over to just try to memorize what's in it, what's in, you know. It's so easy to make a mistake, really is. Don't think you are free of making mistake. I've made a mistake. So when you made a mistake, be quick to admit your mistake, but then try to, you know, neutralize the situation. And always, the other agent is not your enemy. You are on the board together, and never to make an enemy with another agent. Because we are in this together. We want to prosper together. When we keep that in mind, I think we always, you know, come up with a solution that's a win-win situation for both buyer and the sellers. So that's what I want to just emphasize. Read the contract, know your contract, inside and out. Yeah.
And we are going to have a purchase and sales training. I think 9th of December. I'm trying to arrange that. I'm going to send you the details. I've been to one before. It's pretty boring, but
what training?
Purchase and sales contract.
Oh. Well, it's not boring.
Well, you know, it's not as fun as like home staging, I guess, but we have to know about it, and there are a lot of details. So each time I go through one, I learn something new. I mean, I don't want to say new, but I remember, and I want to emphasize on it. And now with the COVID, there are some, you know, more areas that we need to pay attention to. So I will keep you updated with the date for that one. I'm excited about it. It's been a while. Since we are talking about our challenging experiences, I want to tell one. This was in Londonderry, I think 3 or 4 years ago. I was the seller side. We were under contract. And the buyer's agent, she was a team leader. And she had too many agents under her. She knew what she was doing. But just like you mentioned, we were like past the appraisal, and like 2 weeks, almost like 3 weeks before the closing, she realized she did not include $8,000 paid back to the buyer in her contract.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
Oh
and the buyer was FHA, 3% down. The guy didn't have the money. It was like a 350 single family. It was a flip property. So the buyer really didn't have the money to bring to the closing. He needed that. And I went back to the seller. I asked him like, any way you can reduce the price? He was flipping, of course. He said, how can you not, like this is just too late in the game. And now I am stuck. It was really bad. But the seller said, well, this is a flip property. He purchased it for like 190, and then he was selling it for 350. So he was very happy with what he was getting. And he just did not want to go back to the market. And he said, well, okay, I am just going to reduce it and we will move forward.
Wow, the buyer lucked out on that one.
Oh gosh, I know he did. He was a nice man. But again, this was the listing agent's fault. I'm sorry, the buyer's agent's
That's a huge mistake, huge
Yeah.
mistake. Wow.
And I don't want to say the name of the agent.
Of course not. Yeah.
And also another challenge with this one, the property was on the contract for 350. The first appraisal came in at 330, 20 less. And I'm not even talking about the extra $8,000. So the seller said, I'm not coming down 20. The buyer didn't have the extra. And it was an FHA loan. Just because we were kind of stuck, nobody really had the extra funds, and the difference was too big to split. So the buyer ended up paying for another appraisal. And the second guy, he lived in Londonderry himself, and he came right on the value. I was kind of surprised that the first guy was way off, but I guess things happen and everything is kind of individual, and people can make mistakes, or they might have different opinions on different properties, or the comps that they choose could be very different, and it might bring a different result.
Well, it's very rare that buyer will hire and pay twice for appraiser. It only happens only because it's a market is so hot and buyers are desperate. That's why, right? Eunice?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Something
wasn't
like that never happened before. No.
it wasn't this hot before, but still that buyer was stuck and he just didn't have the funds.
And he wanted a house badly. That's why.
He did, yeah. He
Yeah,
really liked the
okay.
property. And the third challenge with this exactly same house. So we were at the inspection, and the inspector for the septic, he came in and he opened it up. He's standing literally right on the septic tank. This was like a 1250 gallons concrete tank. And he's talking to the buyer. I was present at the inspection, and the buyer's agent is right there. And he's saying, well, you know what, this tank is at the end of its lifetime, is crumbling around the lid. So I really recommend this to be replaced. But I'm like looking at him, he's a big guy. He's standing right on it. I'm like, if
Was
you
he,
trust
was he recommending to replace the cover or the tank itself?
the tank itself. And 5 minutes after, he turned around and gave his business card to me and the buyer. And then he told, well, we can do this for you for $4,000.
Who
Can
was the inspector? Who was the inspection company?
I can't tell you
That
now.
we need to know. Yeah, that we need to know.
It was very
I don't want that inspector coming and inspecting my listing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was totally biased. Of course, we did not hire him at all. We went to a different company. That was the biggest concern for this buyer. He didn't want anything else. He just wanted the tank to be replaced. The seller ended up replacing it for $3,000 something. But I just wanted to share with you how biased can companies be.
We have to be very careful who we hire.
Yeah. Okay.
Manish, I have a question. Just a question on the comps for the appraisers. Generally, are they trying to get 3 comps like within the last 6 months, or is it a year, or what are they looking for? Like, what is the perfect comp for an appraiser?
They usually try to keep it within the 6 months or less, especially right now.
Okay.
And if you are the listing agent and you are trying to get a higher number for the appraisal, make sure when you are meeting with the appraiser, bring down your comps yourself. You go
Okay.
into the MLS, you search for the higher property values, and then in a nice way, you don't have to be bossy. You can just say, well, these are the ones, yeah, like these are the ones that we picked when we listed the property and when we decided on the listing price.
And they might consider something that's under agreement, right? Not necessarily closed, maybe.
No,
No?
They have different options. So they need to use the sold comps for the appraisal, but they also add in the under contract ones as well. But the sold ones are important. And right now the appraisers do know about the station, you know, multiple offers and whatnot. And God bless them. It's a hard job to do because they won't be able to find the comps. Can you imagine, like 6 months ago, these numbers did not exist.
Right. Right. No, I know. Yeah, right. I'm just interested. I'm curious how they adjust for that, but okay. It'd be hard.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
sure.
I'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Sure. So I have a few scenarios and I wanted to kind of go over it. And if you don't mind texting me in maybe like 2 or 3 words on what your feedback is. And I will send you a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donut gift card for $10 for the right answer or the person who sends it the soonest. Sounds good? By text.
I gotta get my cell phone.
Okay, get your phone. And we will talk about it too. So there is no like clear answer for the first one, especially. Are we ready? Sherry?
I'm back. Sorry. I had to go get my cell phone. Go ahead.
So, should you disclose this? Your seller client tells you that a home inspector recently was suspicious of insect damage when he saw the home's damaged siding. However, the seller disputes that notion, saying he's never had an insect problem in or around the home. Should you disclose that or not? And why not?
Renisa, what's your cell phone number again?
603-233-7760.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Wow, I'm getting a lot of answers. Good. Okay. Well, should we talk about it? What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, I want to see your face. I'm gonna stop sharing it. Okay. So what do you think? We should say it or not, or let the home inspector take
I think
care of?
I don't know. I think he should say it. Because he's not an expert.
Well, think about yourself as the buyer too. There are two sides of the story, right?
I said no. And I said no because it could be an old problem. Could have been dealt with. Like I have a 100-year-old house and could have been damaged by insects 50 years ago. And the insects could have been gone for, 48 years. So
Mm-hmm. But
there's no current infestation.
but he just hired an inspector,
Oh,
and he said,
seller
yeah,
did? The
Who
seller
has
hired an
suspicion?
inspector?
yeah,
That's the-
seller did.
Oh, okay. So this is
Mhm.
not hearsay. It's not like a buyer had an inspector and whatever.
So let me read it again. Your seller client tells you that a home inspector recently was suspicious of insect damage when he saw the home's damaged siding. However, the seller disputes that notion. He is saying no, he never had any insect problem in or around the home. So they had an inspection, and the inspector is saying, yeah, there might be a problem here, and the seller is just totally ignoring it.
Is in denial. He has to
Right.
disclose anything and everything about latent defect about the house and the property has to be disclosed regardless.
So how would you disclose that? I agree.
I would disclose exactly what the inspector said. Inspector, inspector mentions, but also seller can state, however, we have never had a insect damage issues. He can do
Mhm.
that.
I
So
would
that
have,
way,
yeah,
yeah.
I would have the seller have somebody come in, and somebody who deals with the insects before, because he's just suspicious of it. That's what it says. He's just suspicious of it.
So seller does need to either hire an
Right.
termite
Exactly.
inspector to take care of it or disclose that fact, what was said to him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely hire a
It
professional.
just falls on the disclosure law, that's all.
Yes. So this is a very wide question, and this is why some of the listing agents, they don't want to be present at the home inspection because they just don't really want to know more about the property, because if they do, they need to disclose that to the next buyer. Let's say the first buyer walks, now you're trying to market the property again, you're responsible because you know.
Muniz, it was spoken to the seller. Seller is aware of it. If he hides
Yeah.
the fact, he is withholding information. So it wasn't made known to the seller. Now seller told you, now you know. So if you don't mention it, then you're hiding the fact. So once it's disclosed, we do have an obligation to disclose.
Yeah, if it's factual.
It
Right.
is.
So that's my point, that it's not factual. He's suspecting.
Right.
So I would say never make a decision. Okay. You should make a suggestion that, okay, Mr. Seller, let's hire a bug inspector.
That's right.
And have them come out, determine if there is insects,
Right.
and have it mitigated. Don't get into this quagmire because you cannot win.
Right. You can't, if you don't know, how can you disclose unless it's a fact?
So, I mean, let's not forget, he's your client. You're supposed to follow his instructions too. So if it's not factual, then why did you just disclose it? You just, he can sue you because you took $20,000 off the property's value. So just don't go there. Have him hire a bug inspector, a termite company or whatever it is,
Right.
and have them deal with it.
If he knows and doesn't disclose, then yeah, that's not nice. That's not good. That's not ethical. But if they don't know, they can't just assume. A home inspector can't, you know?
Mhm.
That's my thing. Hire a professional.
Exactly.
And we are not in the business for home inspection.
Right.
But
If
the
it is-
question, yeah, Muniz, the question clearly states that home inspector did tell the seller.
Yeah.
So that's kind of tricky question.
I think at this point, we cannot really ignore this issue. We have to acknowledge it. And we will suggest the seller to hire another inspector or insect company, just call JP Pest or whatever. And then now they have a factual document stating this property is totally fine.
That's
Because
right.
moving forward, you don't want to be responsible for it.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Cool. Hi, Molly. How are you? You're still on the road. Okay. So I have one more question coming up. So this one, can you write me an offer? Let's say you are representing clients who want to sell their home quickly so that they can move on into their new home. You get a call from a prospective buyer who says that he's already viewed the property and would like to make an offer immediately. He asks you to write the offer. What should be your first response to this? What should be your first question?
Who showed him the property, maybe? Is he working with an agent?
Would you want to text me?
Oh,
And we do have a Starbucks gift card. I know you do like that one.
yes.
So is this seller and the buyer same person?
No. So
And how
somebody,
could buyer have seen that house if the house is not on the market?
they might have come to the open house.
I don't understand. The house is not listed. Are we talking about same subject property?
So the house is listed. The buyer.
Okay, so
called-
house is listed. Okay.
Yeah. And you are the seller side.
Okay.
Okay, we have a lot of winners. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I think we are ready. Do you want to talk about it? Okay, what should be your initial response? You had the open house, the property has been on the market for maybe a week or so, you are the seller side, and a buyer calls you and tells you that they saw the property and they would like to make an offer on it, and they want you to write an offer. What should be your first response to the buyers?
Are you working with another agent? How did you see the property? Who showed you the property?
You are the winner. We have a few right answers, so I will send a gift card to all of you. I just have to read all of them, and I will announce who are the winners. So somebody must have shown them the property, right? We just need to know if they are represented with a different agent or not. Because if they are, then we should make sure that their own agent writes the offer.
Right.
And if they don't have an agent, now you need to disclose them. You are the seller side, but you can represent both sides as long as they agree on it, on a disclosure for the dual agency disclosure as well. And
I would not act as
I
a
would
dual
not do
agent.
that.
oh boy,
No.
okay, well,
Absolutely not. I'm sorry
right.
to contradict you. Never ever get into a dual agency.
That's right.
I would
I love dual agency.
rather walk away from this buyer than do a dual agency representation. Starting with the fact that they have seen the property, so you didn't set it up right at the get-go. It's you are framed. Okay, there is a protocol you have to follow when you are getting into dual agency. We get the
And you
seller-
follow that. Yeah, just follow it. And it's double bubble, we call it.
Don't go there.
No, I agree with Janos.
Oh, wow.
It's like, listen, I have this pre-existing agency relationship with the seller. I represent the seller. I can write the offer as the seller agent. Are you okay with that? Yes, of course the buyer is, because they don't understand, they don't care. Write up the offer as the seller's agent. Do not get into dual.
That's right. I 100% agree, because you have not initiated the showing with the buyer. You do not have a relationship. You have not built a relationship with them. You cannot create buyer agency on the spot. And I have done dual agency in occasional times, but now I try to avoid that now. I will not do dual agency. I will tell the buyer, I will write you an offer, but I cannot represent you. Are you okay with that? If they say yes, then we will write an offer as a buyer's agent. And if they say no, then I would refer them out to another agent to represent them as a buyer's agent. Never ever try not to get into dual agency. There could be lawsuit happening in the future. So yeah, don't, not worth it.
it's a tricky business, and it starts pretty pleasant. But I think after the home inspection, once the buyer wants to negotiate on the items about the inspection or the appraisal, now the seller gets mad at you because you're trying to lower the price. You're trying to get the seller to fix items in the house. If the property has been on the market for a while and the seller is desperate, they really want to sell it, and you know that they are kind of flexible, I think to be in a dual agency is very tricky, but you kind of need to be fair to everyone. And as long as you are honest and make sure that they know what they are getting into, then it might be okay. But if you can refer it out to a trusted agent, that helps the deal, right?
I think as an agent, we do need to eliminate the potential for the lawsuit. The lawsuit happens not because you are not a good agent. Lawsuit happens because we have buyer's remorse, seller's remorse, angry buyers. You never know how you're going to get sued. So this will be one of the ways, because that money commission you make through that is not worth it at the end.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad we are kind of, like some says yes, some it's a tricky question. And yeah, the money is very it's great, but not all the money is worth your headache or your career in the long run, right? But at the same time, it might be an advantage for the seller, because now either you or someone you trust is on the other side, and you can control the sale a little bit better than a third-party agent, because now you know the other agent who is negotiating with you, and you want to make sure that they stay in the deal as much as possible.
From a legal standpoint, if you have all your paperwork in a row and you have your agency agreement, dual agency agreement, does that protect you from a lawsuit or?
No.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
No, no.
No, no.
No. Okay.
Agency
right.
agreement is an agreement to work with the buyer. It has nothing to do with the lawsuit. If you are working with the buyer, you build a rapport with them and they trust you and you know them, then there's a potential possibility of creating dual agency. But if the buyer just comes to you to your listing and asking to buy, that is not the time to create buyer agency. No.
Well, you need to sign the dual agency document before submitting the offer to the seller and the buyer. Just don't wait until the last minute.
Right.
But you can do it. We are not saying you can't. It's just very tricky, and be careful on who you are working with and what you're saying to them, because the seller hired you to protect their rights. Now you're working for somebody else, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Any best practices? Like, what do you think went really well for you and what worked for you? Or any, like, what would be your ideal closing or client? An easy sale that, it just happened naturally. You didn't really have to work too much.
My easy sale came from the seller who I have known for 8 years, have bought and sold with me. That was an easy sale. There's no such a thing as an easy sale.
Okay.
Every transaction is different. It's not going to work out the same. So always be on top of the game. Know your contracts, know the dates, deadlines. The one thing I recently kind of made up my mind, not to attend the final walkthrough as a seller's agent. The reason I do not attend final walkthrough as a seller's agent is because when there's a little bit of something, discrepancy, or if the seller didn't clean out the refrigerator, it gives the buyer to complain in front of me, and then I have to deal with it. So if I am not there, no, serious. I did a pre-walkthrough before buyer agent came. I did my walkthrough and I told the buyer agent, key is there, let yourself in. And some of the minor issues are forgiven because they don't want to bring it to the closing, because at that point they want to go to the closing. So I think that's the best practice, not to attend the final walkthrough as a seller's agent.
Okay, that's a good tip, and that is very accurate. I had a few, I was on the seller side, very similar issue. The property was a mess though. The buyers were actually right on this one, even though I was on the seller side. It was disgusting. Like, they did not clean the refrigerator, the kitchen, nothing. And the buyer asked for $200. Well, I asked the seller, they said no, and they were okay with that. But not everybody is, okay with just clean.
That's very unpleasant. I had an experience with the buyer, my buyer. We went to the final walkthrough. Refrigerator was all moldy. The oven was disgustingly dirty. The agent says to me, you did not write that in a contract. So from that day on my buyer's contract, I write not just the broom clean condition, but their appliances needs to be cleaned. So I add that on additional provision from now on.
Wow.
I had a listing once. I was the seller's agent, $800,000 waterfront. It was a divorce. Every time I checked on the husband, he said he's packing, he's packing. The day before the walkthrough, I went to see him. I said, the buyer's agent's going to be coming through tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. He said, don't worry, I'll have everything out of here. I get a call that morning. I don't know, the closing was 11. I get a call at 9. Everything's still there and he doesn't want to leave. Wow, you never seen. So I went there. Yeah, I had to play psychiatrist. We talked to him. I talked to him. And then before you know it, me and the other agent were helping him move his stuff in the truck. It was horrendous, but we closed.
You gotta love that story.
So, and it wasn't clean because we were getting his stuff out and the buyer's like, I just want to close. I just want to close. Get him out. Horrible, but it was fun. We closed. We came together, the agent. and myself.
Did
It was
he
nice.
think it's gonna?
That's good.
Did he think it was gonna stay?
He really did. He was a problem the whole time. And I always told him, you got to stop this crap. It's done. We're done. You sign papers. We're done. He said, don't worry, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And he didn't want to go. So that was a very interesting closing.
Oh, I had a good advice from an agent one time when I first became a new agent. One experienced agent asked me, do you drink wine? I said, no. And she said, you will be.
I still
Yes.
don't. Let's see how far I can go.
Yes. I was a nice girl until I went into real estate 20 years ago.
Yeah, I wish I could though. That will help.
Hormones.
Wow. Okay. Well, we kind of went over this, but what would you give as an advice to the new agents when you first started? You think about yourself.
Work on referrals.
Prospect.
Prospect. What do you mean by that?
Well, I just always be looking for new business or for business. Always
Mhm.
prospecting.
Remember,
Listings are very important, all this running around with buyers is crazy. Listings is the
advice.
name.
How long did it take for you to get your first listing when you first started?
When I first started, I locked myself up in a room, and we had back in the day, that tells you my age, the reverse phone directory. I would call everybody and say, are you looking to buy a house now or in the near future? Or are you looking to sell your home now or in the near future? And if not, do you know somebody who is? That's an old, God, who was that?
Script.
Oh, I forget who it is, but I did that for hours a day. And I was very successful. I had 24 listings in like 6 months of my real estate business. And I just did it every day. Now you can't call anybody.
Oh, you can't?
yes, you can speak up.
Well, you can, but you have the do not call. And then, no, you can. You absolutely can. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's
Yeah,
important to prospect.
right. I understand.
Keeping in touch with people is huge too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm so bad at
Always-
that. But yeah, all the past clients, keeping in touch with them, I think is really big.
Because if you are new, you don't have a client base. What I did was I would write a letter to everyone I knew, everyone. And I also sent a letter to all the Korean community. And that's where I got my first listing, first sale. That client ended up buying and selling from me about 5 times. So
Okay.
people who know you, when they know you're an agent, they want to help you. So they will be most likely your first client, just like Camden did, right? Your grandma's house, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Following up with past clients is great too, Molly. We used to have a program where for 5 years, like 5 times a year, when we close, you can put seller, buyer, whomever in it, and they would get something. And I think it was like $50 a year or something. It was so cheap. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but they were always getting something from you for 5 years. It was nice.
Yeah, there are still programs like that.
I wish I had a client, a closing, so I'd know. I will.
Well, I think staying in touch with people and committing this business, like spend 2 hours on it. Turn off your phone or just don't look at it for 2 hours. Just focus on it. And if you're making the phone calls to your clients or texting them, texting is okay as long as they don't subscribe or they tell you not to. That's still okay. And you can email, send them postcards. And right now with the Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, this is a great time to stay in touch with people. Just send them a postcard. And we have a great reason just to say hi, happy holidays, and I just wish you the best. And I was thinking about you, right?
Send them a, yeah.
Actually, my
Great
neighbor
idea.
made me handmade Thanksgiving card.
Ah.
Nice.
And I am going to send this to my clients and friends, handwritten note with the business card inside, especially new agents. Write a handwritten note because that's very rare nowadays, and they
Yeah,
will
it is.
appreciate
Right.
you. Yes,
Yes.
and you may get a
Yes.
listing out of it.
Good.
And
Good idea.
I mean, Dollar Tree has them, like 2 of them for $1. You don't have to go too fancy. I think people just want to be acknowledged, and handwriting is important, not the card itself or how much money you're spending on it.
Because they are bombarded with the other agents and all the commercials, buy, and sell. But if this one gives personal touch, and they, when they like you, they will want to do business with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just send them a COVID mask.
Hand sanitizer. Yes.
Yeah.
Get them all ready for the next wave.
No waves. No waves.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
So as I mentioned to you, we do have a purchase and sales contract training with the 2 credits, probably going to be on the 9th of December. Market,
Who's doing the training? Who's doing the purchase and sales contract seed credit training?
Let me tell you, Robin just emailed me today. Okay, he was just catching up with the details. Liz Going with Harbor One. She's sponsoring the event.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
John Doran is doing the training.
He's amazing. Yes, great.
Good. Perfect.
And will it be in the office?
I don't think so. I mean, we might have the option, but the last one was very challenging. So I have to just try it a few times before I schedule it. But it probably is going to be on the Zoom just to be safe. Because our office is small. I can't fit more than, I don't know, like 8 people. And we outgrew that.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Manchester office is opening up this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. We will have it just for appointment only. We can have closings and meetings on it in there, but it's not going to be as active as Bedford. It will be just as the second location. If we are busy in Bedford, we do have an option in Manchester. And we are looking for an office around Salem. If you know anyone, this is probably going to be in January or February, so we're not in a rush. But if you see a good location, just let me know. We have 2 options in mind. We are thinking about it. We are getting the details on. So just, be on the lookout.
Nice.
Yeah, we're excited. So this training is going to be on Friday. I put the details on our Facebook group. I'm sure you have seen it. You need to register it in advance so you can get the Zoom link. This is going to be great. Todd Sumney is amazing, as you know. So he's just going to go over what we can do to get free leads. You don't have to pay for the leads all the time. So this is just going to be awesome.
Friday's my birthday. I'm going to be, my girlfriend's coming from New Jersey tomorrow for the weekend.
Oh, that'll be great.
Happy birthday, Monis.
Thank you.
And talking about birthdays, Molly has a birthday coming up too, right?
Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Molly.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, this is all that I can do for right now. And I'm going to be in touch if you have any other areas that you want me to cover. We are going to have trainings as ongoing process. But if you would like to hire a coach, Buffini & Company is one of the best ones ever. It might be a great investment for your future. They do check up on you every week, depending on the options. I do recommend them. They are very good. You're welcome to check on their website, buffiniandcompany.com. They have different options on it. So you're welcome to kind of go to the second level after you're done with the HomeSmart trainings. If you still want someone to, keep you accountable and take you, or if you think you are doing enough, but you want to go to the next level, they will help you either to create a team or, grow your business as well.
Almost over.
Another program is the locker room. This is a little bit more affordable comparing to Buffini. They do have group coaching programs. They are like $50 a month with the 50% discount. They do have a book on Amazon, I think around like $20. You can kind of get an idea about what the program is going to be with the book. I have it in my office if you want to check it out. It's a great system. It's just to keep you on track, just to give you a system so that you don't just, postpone and not do at the end. I think they are great. This is all from me. Any other questions or things you want to share or you want to see? Let me know.
Are you still at the office?
Hmm?
Are you still at the office?
No, this is my home.
Okay.
I just did dinner. Yeah, I don't live in the office, right?
Good. I was gonna say, go home, Eunice.
Yeah, I have kids and yeah. Not that they care about me anymore, but oh well, they're old. And, yeah, I can't get them out of their rooms.
So good to see everyone tonight.
Same here. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Oh, you too. And for the Thanksgiving, we keep debating on this one. I really want to have a dinner. And we were just talking about it with my husband. With the COVID right now, I think it's on the rise. And I told him, like, let's just go to a restaurant and eat out all together. But he said, you just don't want to be the person who is initiating it. And if somebody catches that and now you're responsible, it becomes a bigger deal. So I apologize, even though I really want to have a holiday party. I think as of right now, we will skip it. Maybe for December, if things go better, we will think about it and maybe do it in December. But you know how everything is, so.
I know.
No problem.
Yeah.
We understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to do it though. It will be great because we are growing and some of our agents never met each other. So it will be great for getting to know each other and act like a team,
Yeah. It'll be nice. But
Yeah.
totally understanding.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, it was great seeing everyone. Thank you so much for the information and
Bye,
your time.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a
Night.
great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.